What do all these memes have in common? They are all from old African comedy films which unfortunately may have died. Let's talk about it. This chart over here shows the number of African comedy films that have been made over the years according to Pew research. And if you look very closely, you can tell that this chart is fake. Pew research is not a real thing. But even without statistics, we can all tell that they don't make African comedy movies anymore. There have been a number of videos made about this topic based on Hollywood, but I wanted to talk about the situation on the motherland because the main reason for the death of African comedies is quite different from Hollywood. And the problem over here, ironically, is more money and more success. It might sound a little bit strange, but I'll explain it in a bit. Growing up, we watched a lot of African comedy classics like The Gods Must Be Crazy, Mr. Bones, Mad Buddies, Coming to America. That film is an African film. I don't want to hear anything else. It's an African film. We have claimed it.
Yes! Fuck you too!
Nollywood gave us classics like Aki and Pawpaw, Sophia and London, Baby Police, Gamblers, the movie that had the Costa Rica thing that went viral on TikTok, Mr. Ibu.
Enemy of
Progress.
your progress.
And over here we have to pay homage to the legend himself, who left us a couple of days ago to join his real family, the Gods, because that guy was so good, there's no way he was human. That guy was the embodiment of comedy. At some point, he was complaining that people don't take him seriously in real life because whenever he talks about serious things, they think he's funny because he was comedy, pure comedy. RIP to the legend. I just know it's going to be lit over there when he finally meets some local.
I want to. It paid me so much. I don't know. I didn't see my mother. I didn't meet her. I didn't know her. But I'm very sure she's as ugly as you are. Otherwise, look at that, the production.
Hey! May all the gods of Ebenezer combined,
You see?
strike you with epilepsy.
You see?
That would be crazy. I wish I was there. I don't wish I was, not yet, but you know what I'm saying. Ghallywood also gave us comedy classics like every single Ghallywood movie from 2006 to 2013. They were all comedies, unintentionally. Don't believe me? Check out my playlist on those movies over here. You see my reviews on those movies. Watch all my reviews of those movies over there. Share it with your friends. Make me famous, please. And also,
yo, you like the video, right? And so why you no click on the like button? You make no talk, just click on like the video.
back in the day, every other movie was a comedy movie. The most recent one I can remember that was very prominent was Chief Daddy, the part 1. The part 2 of that film was a hate crime to our eyes. Jesus Christ, that thing was hot garbage. So why did they die? But there's some universal answers to that question that I've been mentioned in so many other videos. First of all, laughter is cheap now. Funny content is everywhere. I remember when I was in junior high school, me and my friends used to go to another friend's house to watch funny clips on his laptop. He had a folder of funny clips. He had another folder full of other clips, but we only watched the funny clips. That's how rare it was back then. But these days, everything is a funny clip. You can watch funny clips on demand. Just go on TikTok and everything is funny. You have comedy skits, YouTube videos, the Nigerian president, stand-up comedy clips, the Ugandan parliaments, the former South African president, the Black Stars of Ghana. So that kind of took the power out of waiting to go and see a comedy movie that's like an hour and 30 minutes long. In Hollywood, they had a different problem where now all the comedy movies cannot be offensive and they always have to have a deeper message about minorities and all that stuff. But for us, the biggest problem, as I mentioned, was money and success. The more money that came into the African movie industry, the less comedy movies they made. And let's use Nollywood because it's the biggest film industry in Africa, one of the biggest in the world. There's this thing in New Nollywood that I like to call the small nyash they shake syndrome. You see, back then there was no pressure on Nollywood to be anything special. And not just Nollywood, everybody else. There was no pressure. We were just doing our thing. The budgets were not big and so we were limited to telling stories about our everyday life, and that was mostly comedy because everyday life is funny. Even the witchcraft movies, a lot of the Kumawood movies ended up being comedies because what is this? And in Kumawood, when they even tried to make action movies, it was still a comedy because what is this? Bruh, they took a picture of the guy and then slided it across the face. But back to Nollywood, it looks like the more attention and money and success that came to the industry, and then, you know, with the introduction of streaming platforms like Netflix and Prime setting up shop in Nigeria and South Africa, I think the filmmakers began to feel like they had to do bigger things, like they had to compete with Hollywood. And so now it became high intensity explosions, gunfights and blood, body parts flying everywhere. Because there's this mindset that if you get a lot of money to make a film, you might as well make a big film. So you have things like Shantytown, where you have all this wild like scenery and things are going crazy and it looks beautiful and it's cool, you know. But the trade-off is you don't get stories about everyday life anymore. You don't get like comedy movies about like dumb guys inside the neighborhood trying to make it, or you know, one of those like the old movies we used to get, like Baby Police. Because if you get extraordinary money, you have to make an extraordinary film. And the main thing is this: comedy is very, very hard to make. Like with comedy films, you cannot hide behind big budget explosions and, you know, visual effects and stuff like that. You can't use money to mask the comedy. If it's not funny, the people can tell and they will hate it. And so a lot of people don't like to take the risk to make a comedy film, so they'll just rather do like a fight scene. Because right now, again, with the small nyash the shake thing, if it looks impressive, you have won. Because, you know, like the industry, like you're competing with Hollywood, and so like if you're able to do something that looks like Hollywood, then, you know, people will give you a pass. But with comedy, if it's not funny, nobody will give you. If it's not funny, you will be slaughtered. And so, you know, they don't really want to take the risk, which I get, I understand. But, you know, like we did it back in the day and they were funny, so like are all the comedy writers dead or something? Because the actors are not dead. We have a lot of funny people, so where are the writers? And that's another reason why a lot of these shows, they start well, you know, like Far From Home, which I made a video about. Check it out, come over here. Like it starts well, but then at the end everything gets chaotic because you have to work within the budget, but you also have to show off your skills and show that you can compete. And so you have the guy fighting karate and all kinds of madness going on, you know. The classic comedies, they don't look extraordinary, and so they're not going to spend $90,000 making that film. They're not going to feel like they have done anything. And there's also this fear that people will not watch them once again because laughter is kind of cheap now. So it's like, why would anybody go to the cinema to go and watch a film just to laugh? And that's why they died. And that leads me to this mindset that people will not pay money to just go and watch a comedy movie, or they will not watch it on Prime or any of these things. Like even the YouTube side of Nollywood, they don't make comedies, you know, because I guess they think people won't watch them because they will watch Sabinus and Mr. Macaroni and stuff like that. But that's a problem because there's this idea that a comedy movie is having a bunch of people just fooling on camera, but that's not it. Yes, the laughs are a big part of the film, but the main part of any movie is still the story. We want to watch a character that we relate to go from one point, face an obstacle to the other. And people will always watch that. If it's a great story, they will always watch it. And comedy movies don't always have to be like typical comedy movies in the village and, you know, that whole thing. You can have an action comedy, you can have a drag comedy. A comedy movie is not just stitching a bunch of funny scenes together. No, it's telling a story and then weaving the comedy into the story. So it can be anything. Every time I have to watch an African comedy, I have to go all the way back and watch the classics, which never gets old, by the way. The Ghost Must Be Crazy never gets old. It is, oh my god, it's fucking dope. Mad Buddies came out in like 2012, 2013. Incredible. Like that movie looks very high budget, but it's funny as fuck. And I wish they would do more of that. But in the meantime, I still want to ask you to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. I will ask you to in the comments below. Let me think about the video. Let me think about the comedy movie thing. You guys love comedy movies? Do you still watch them? Also, I made an old video like 2 years ago about the golden age of Nollywood. Now, I love comedy so much, but I still don't love them as much as I love you. And I'll see you guys soon in another video. Think the song.
I will never ever ask you to like and subscribe, but you go share my video if you know you're feeling my vibe. People are gonna never ever ask you to like and subscribe.